The feeding of the 5,000 in Mark chapter 6 seems to be a literary elaboration on something that we find in 2 Kings 4, and Elisha's feeding of the 100, intentionally presenting himself as the greater Elisha. I can't imagine what evidence you could possibly adduce to demonstrate that it's more likely the author of the Gospel of Mark wrote the story so as to mirror 2 Kings 4 because that's what Jesus decided to do. I don't know what evidence you could adduce to make that the more likely conclusion. That's an argument by assertion, and it's a pretty silly argument. That would get you laughed out of an academic conference.
I have in my most recent book set forth all these places where Jesus is like Moses, and a number of them are in sayings attributed to him. And I think the evidence suffices to say that he thought of himself in these terms. We know of the so-called sign prophets from Josephus in the 1st century that others sought to repay the salvific past. And we also just know from history, even modern history, that it's not uncommon for people to live into typologies. One of my favorites is that Alexander the Great wanted to be like Achilles, and Julius Caesar wanted to be like Alexander, and Napoleon wanted to be like Caesar, and General Santa Anna wanted to be like Napoleon. Simeon Stylites, the guy who is the pillar sitter and so strange, if you look at the sources, they have Moses typologies, but it's also clear that he himself went up on a mountain and tried to fast for 40 days and 40 nights. And he's trying to be like Moses. In our own day, Martin Luther King, his famous speech, I've been to the mountain, I've seen the promised land, I may not get there with you. He's being like Moses. Anyway, it's not weird or strange for people to live into typologies. Of course, they have various different reasons for their Moses typologies, but I think it's a really good bet that Jesus didn't just think of himself as some sort of generic eschatological prophet, which is probably a strange idea in Judaism anyway. The Gospels always want to identify, are you the Messiah? Are you Jeremiah? Are you John the Baptist? I doubt that he was completely vague about this matter.